We are here with a ski touring binding that is very, very interesting. This is the Slatnar ST touring binding. And with a name like Slatnar, you just know that you can expect big and great things. I was standing in Skimo Co. in Salt Lake staring at their wall of bindings, and this binding caught my eye, and more than anything, just the name on it, Slatnar, and I had to see what this thing was all about. Slatnar is actually a high-end Slovenian CNC manufacturing company, and they have made a name for themselves in the Olympic ski jumping arena. They manufacture World Cup ski jumping skis and bindings, and this is their first foray into the alpine touring category. So right off the bat, if you've ever seen Eddie the Eagle, fly, I don't know how many hundreds of meters or thousands, on those giant skis, and I can only imagine the forces that have to be, that they have to withstand to not just totally explode when they hit the ground on those ski jumps. So right off the bat, I'm thinking this has potential to be a very strong, very reliable binding. The features really is what kind of sealed the deal with me. So I was looking for a binding that was light, number one. Light to me means 300 grams or less. That's my light category. Above that, I'd start getting into kind of, I don't know, that's my like burly ski binding category. So this binding, without its little stomp pad, is like 300 grams, and with the stomp pad is like 335. So let's compare that to a lighter free ride binding like the ATK Raider with its stomp pad. It comes in like 360 or maybe a little bit higher, just depending if it's the Raider 12 or 14 or 16. So this is like lighter than a Raider, and it shares some of the features, not all of them. But the things I like is one, you look at that toe piece and it just screams solidity. It looks solid, enough metal there that I'm not worried about things breaking. But you can tell that they took care to kind of machine away where they could and keep the weight low. It uses just single springs on each side, but they look like really big, strong springs. Again, this is, I'm talking about what I was seeing when I was shopping for this. I also liked that it had a stomp pad. I've found that these are very useful, or I can feel a difference with some of the bindings with stomp pads, especially when you get into the wider skis. Skinnier skis, I could say, maybe it's not a bigger deal, but getting into these wider skis, just more leverage, having that stomp pad, I really feel like connects my boot to the ski better. And then it does use a U-spring, but it actually has the kiss gap, and so a little bit of not quite forward pressure initially, but it will, when you flex the ski, there is contact with the boot. So again, my skiing impressions were that this binding just felt very connected to my boot. I didn't get a lot of that clickety-clack or the slop or kind of the loose feeling you get with some touring bindings when you're just hanging on the pins. So combined with the stomp pad, the kiss gap, so you have a little bit of contact, forward pressure, feels very, very solid. Another feature that I look for on most of my touring bindings is, does it have a flat mode? Which the answer on the Slatnar is yes, there is a flat mode. My ankles actually don't flex very good. I have like limited range of motion in my ankles. So usually I need a flat mode if we're going on like long approaches, but I also love a binding that you do not have to twist or bend over to get to your first set of risers or any risers. So on the Slatnar, you can go flat, you've got low riser, and again, I need a high riser on almost all of my bindings, unless I'm on my lightest, most articulating boot. I usually will need a high riser at some point. So you got 0, low, high. You never have to bend over and twist. You get to the transition, you twist it. For downhill mode, step in just like normal. But then I also love the fact that on that next lap, once you have the skinner in, you can just go skimo style over the pins, you know, and you still have a high riser like that, and you get to the top for your next transition, no bending over at all, just out, click. So that is the Slatnar ST touring binding. Very solid. I'm hoping to report at the end of the season or by the next few seasons that it's very reliable, but looking at it, I can only guess that it's going to be a solid binding for a long time.